I'm just saying, like, these people that do that, you know, I'm pointing the finger and I'm saying certain things about certain aspects about why people do stuff and the way that they do it versus the way I do it. I'm not just fucking joking. I'm like, look, I'll explain it. I have an explanation and my logic is undeniable. Where have you ever come with some logic? You don't. You don't have it. You're believing in yourself somehow. You're believing in some sort of higher power that's going to give you power to go and do a job. You're pumping yourself up. It's I can see right through that shit. I'm like, give me a break. Oh, I love fighting. I love what I do. I'm like, yeah, sure you do. Sure you do. I guarantee you're really in love with yourself and your whole idea that you had when you're on your way out to fight me. I'm like, I doubt it. People think I'm crazy doing what I do. I'm like, I don't fucking, you know, some people do motocross and are flying off. Downhill, I'm really, really good at downhill. Not into it though. I don't want to do a downhill. I want to go out on a ride for an exercise and a workout and cover some ground and do some mileage. I don't want to take or truck it up to the hill just to ride down or take a what do you call it, a lift. I mean, it's fun. I would do it, but for me, I don't have that kind of time. I'm not going to feel as productive if I'm doing that. I'm actually doing these things not because it's fun, but because, and it is fun. Because this is my life. I could be sitting on a fucking elliptical in the same spot in the same sweaty ass room, just swimming in that shit. Just like all these other idiots are out there doing. All these guys, they think they know what they're doing and they put a fucking training mask on. They hit the bag real hard. I'm like, you look like such a joke to me because I've already surpassed this whole, like, years ago. I was like, okay. And once I did that, once I went out and I started putting miles on, not just on the road, but I started, you know, I started doing swim workouts and doing doing road tries and doing, you know, riding with the roadies. And then I see why people do things. And then, you know, like, it's nice to get out on a nice run or on a nice day and cover some ground and get out somewhere. Go do something with your life. You're not doing something in the same shitty gym every day. This is your life. This is dedication. Guess what? You're going to hate it so bad that you're not going to amount to doing half as much as I did just because I got out, you know, and saw some sights.
Get the runner's high.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm able to do twice as much as your ignorant self is on an elliptical machine or on a, you know, doing those what you see a lot of MMA guys do, which is embarrassing for me. But that's just let them do them. I'll do me. They can keep doing them, and I'll keep beating their ass. And even if they get strong enough to hold on, or smart enough to run away, and they win a fight like that, I still think I'm going to get paid more. And I have. I still do more. It's just a better look to do more work and use and learn more technique and spend more time on the mat and in the boxing gyms. And it's just I have a different lactic acid threshold than these people are gonna burn out. And they do 2 days and then 2 days off, or 3 days and then 2 days off. And I'm like, or even a day. I have 7 days a week, 2 days of active recovery. I'm pushing, I'm pushing a 50 to 80% threshold the rest of the week, except unless I'm doing a 20 to 40 to 50% threshold active recovery, so that I will recover faster.
So that could be your genetics, though, right? Because you're not doing a ton of electrolyte replacement.
I've been running, and I've been swimming since I was 4 years old.
Wow.
4 years old. My grandfather's a track coach, so I learned how to run. I learned how to jog. My dad took me jogging 2 miles. He'd like to run 2 miles. He'd jump rope and lift weights in the garage, a broke-ass garage. But there was some weights and a jump rope, and he'd take me out on a 2-mile run. So I know how to run 2 miles. And I used to thing at Mickey Grove Zoo called the bunny run on Easter, and I used to do the bunny run.
Yeah.
Every year I would get all stoked and do the bunny run. And one year this kid beat me, and I was fucking pissed. So I was into running a little bit, and I got competitive swimming because. Not because I wanted to be a swimmer, not because I wanted to swim, but because there was a guy on the block next to me that was about to fucking beat me and then feel good about it. And I was not having that. So I would swim fast. And if I look over in my lane and I could see somebody next to me, I'm swimming. My times were better. So I was competitive. But then when I got into jiu-jitsu, I had really good endurance for it. I wasn't strong enough to explode and use my strength on someone stronger than me. I was 15. So I would just, last them. I'd last people out, and then I'd learn technique, and I had I would slap a triangle choke on fucking anybody that walked in the gym. Back then, you didn't have a lot of talent, and I learned how to slap. I watched Royce Gracie choke Dan Severin, and after that, I was like, motherfuckers are getting choked with the triangle choke. So they came in, I would slap. I got a pretty good bottom game for locking people up and in chokes and arm locks. That's why you don't see people try to take me down very often. They're trying to run away a lot more.
Are you going to do EBI or one of these like Metamoris type of events?
No, that sounds nice, but I just don't think it's the right thing for me right now at this point in time. I don't really like the idea of competing with these guys that are not fighters, and I feel some type of way about them. I'm not quite sure. I understand that if I was them, I've worked hard. I would want to promote my sport and my thing. The thing is they're not fighters, and they're never going to be. They're never going to be. And they're always going to consider it like they're doing they want to turn it into like, okay, you got a match coming up, or they come up to me like somewhere in jiu-jitsu. I was in competition, but somewhere at the end of my competitive jiu-jitsu career, I noticed people coming up to me. They're like, oh, yo, so are some of the jiu-jitsu events I went to that I wasn't competing in too. They're like, oh, you fight today? You fight today? I'm like, I what? I fight? No, bro. None of you guys are fighting today. All you guys are doing jiu-jitsu today. And it's just like, once the BJJ and the whole thing started getting big and new rules came into play, and all these guys feel some type of way about it. Really, I mean, like they I don't want to see these guys fight. I don't want to see anybody fight. I don't want to see no one get hurt. But I just don't like it's hard on me to go and do a competitive match jiu-jitsu with somebody who does is not fighting, and especially if they're not going to be respectful. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden you're not having my friend Shields, he does a match with this kid AJ, and I like AJ. I hung out with him after that. I met him, and I was like, oh fuck. It was what it was. You're cool, but I mean, he's not a fighter, but he's like, Jake Shields does a match with him, and now he's like kind of like talking shit and acting like tough and hard. I'm like, dude, we're doing a jiu-jitsu match. This is like shake hands, be friends. And
you're lucky he didn't punch you.
Shake hands, be friends, and see who wins. You know what I mean? And now this guy's kind of talking a little bit. So Jake slaps him. Jake's like slapping this dude like in the middle of the match, and I don't need to put myself in that position. I just don't. There's no reason for it, and I don't think the other person needs to do that either. It probably wouldn't be a good idea. And I
guess Chael got John Jones to do one of his.
That's great. I don't think they put too much thought into this though. But the thing is about them is they're both fighters, so that's where it kind of like makes a little bit more
right. And they were suspended, so it's like maybe he gets a check.
I just don't like fooling around with it. I got a lot riding on what I've built and what I've worked for and towards, and I just don't. I can train with anybody. You want to fucking train, come to my gym. I'm not trying to show up at people's gyms and try to hop on their turf or their scene and have a hardcore training day. But there's jiu-jitsu on a respectful level. Like it's great. I mean,